but not the kind fought out there in the world. The real war happens inside the mind, where belief meets resistance, where intention meets habit. That's where the line is drawn. Most people think failure comes from lack of opportunity, lack of money, lack of connections, but it rarely does. Failure begins quietly, in small thoughts, in the whisper that says, maybe tomorrow. It begins when the same mind that dreams of success begins to build excuses for delay. The same imagination that can design a better future can also build a prison of limitation. That's the hidden war within. Every day the mind runs both programs, the builder and the saboteur. The voice that says, I can, and the one that says, what's the use? And here's the truth. Progress must be defended daily, because if you don't guard it, the enemies move in. You've met them before. They live in routine, in thought, in small choices. They never knock loudly. They slip in quietly, dressed as reason, comfort, or caution. And once they take root, they do their work slowly, invisibly, until one day you wake up and realize that a month, a year, maybe 5 years have passed, and the dream is still sitting where it started. Progress isn't stolen, it's surrendered, bit by bit, through distraction, through neglect, through one more excuse. You don't lose progress overnight. You drift away from it. That's why awareness is the first weapon. You must see the battle for what it is. It's not luck versus misfortune, or rich versus poor. It's discipline versus drift. Every day is a vote for one side or the other. When a person says, I don't know what's holding me back, the answer is almost always invisible. It's not the market, it's not the boss, it's not the government, it's the pattern. The way the mind has been trained to retreat instead of rise, to comfort instead of confront. And here's the key. Nothing outside can fix what's inside until the inside changes first. The external always follows the internal. A person doesn't achieve progress by accident any more than a garden grows by neglect. It's designed, cultivated, protected. So the question becomes, who is winning the war inside? The disciplined mind or the drifting one? The builder or the saboteur? Progress begins when that question is answered honestly. Not when the world changes, not when the timing feels right, but when you decide that internal resistance will no longer have the final vote. That's the moment the hidden war shifts. And from there, everything, career, wealth, health, relationships, starts to align. Because progress is not an event. It's a defense strategy against decline. Every day you fight for it, you grow stronger. Every day you ignore it, you lose ground. So if you've wondered why progress comes and goes, now you know. It's not because life got harder, it's because the enemies got smarter. And the first step to winning is to see them clearly. The first enemy of success, excuses. The most elegant destroyer of progress ever invented. They don't shout, they reason. They make failure sound intelligent. Every person who has ever fallen short has had a story to tell, a perfectly reasonable story. Too cold, too late, too busy, too early, too much competition, too little support. But here's what excuses do. They give comfort to inaction. They let you rest on the pillow of justification instead of the bedrock of responsibility. Excuses are the language of retreat. They make you feel smart while they rob your future, and they wear many disguises. Sometimes they sound like logic. It's not the right time. Sometimes they sound like humility. I'm not ready yet. And sometimes they sound like fairness. Others have more advantages. But the result is always the same. Nothing moves. Progress begins where excuses end. The day a person stops explaining and starts executing, life begins to shift. Because excuses and progress cannot live in the same house. One drives the other out. Ask anyone who has achieved something remarkable. They didn't avoid hardship. They ran out of excuses. They replaced "I can't" with "how can I?" That one change in language reshapes the mind. It turns limitation into problem solving. It forces creativity to step in where fear used to sit. An excuse says, "It's beyond me." A question says, "What can I do?" One shuts the door, the other opens it. The problem with excuses is they build comfort faster than success ever could. They let you settle for a story that makes sense instead of a result that makes change. And once you believe your own excuses, progress stops completely, because now the enemy has moved inside and taken your voice. I once met a man who said he wanted to be successful but couldn't because his circumstances were too hard. Then I met another who came from the same background, faced the same obstacles, and said he couldn't afford not to try. Same conditions, different conclusions. One had excuses, the other had reasons to act. You see, life doesn't listen to explanations. It responds to effort. The marketplace doesn't pay for intentions. It rewards execution. The body doesn't get fit because you mean to exercise. It changes because you do. So the cure for excuses isn't inspiration. It's accountability. The moment you start holding yourself to results instead of reasoning, progress reappears. Because excuses thrive in the dark. They can't survive in the light of responsibility. If you found yourself repeating the same story about why things haven't moved, stop and listen carefully. Each repetition makes the excuse stronger. Break the pattern. Change the question. Instead of saying, "I can't because," start saying, "How can I despite?" That shift alone separates those who move from those who wait. Remember this truth. Comfort will always try to disguise itself as logic. But logic without motion is paralysis. You can't rationalize your way to success. You can only act your way there. Excuses give you a reason to stand still. Progress demands a reason to move. So if progress is the goal, silence the stories. Let results do the talking. Okay, now the success enemy of success is neglect. The slowest, quietest destroyer of all. You never notice it working until the damage is done. One missed day doesn't seem like much. One ignored task feels harmless. But neglect compounds faster than effort ever could. Success has a rhythm, and neglect breaks it. It takes discipline to start, but even more discipline to maintain. Most people lose not because they can't begin, but because they can't continue. They let a small gap turn into a canyon. Neglect always begins in the smallest corner. The garden that was once green starts to brown because the watering can stayed on the porch one extra morning. The car that ran smooth begins to sputter because the oil change was delayed. The relationship that was once strong starts to fade because the words "thank you" and "I appreciate you" went unsaid for too long. It's a law of life. Everything unattended deteriorates. Health, wealth, relationships, mindset, none of them maintain themselves. The price of progress is upkeep. The rent for success is due every day, and it cannot be paid in advance. The tragedy is that neglect feels harmless at first. You tell yourself it's only one missed workout, one skipped meeting, one postponed call. But neglect doesn't add, it multiplies. One day becomes two. Two becomes a week becomes a habit. And a habit of neglect always ends in regret. People often say, I just need to catch up. But catching up is twice as hard as keeping up. It's easier to maintain momentum than to rebuild it. The moment you stop tending to what matters, decline starts. Slowly at first, then suddenly. Progress is a fragile thing. It must be fed, protected, and measured. The moment it's taken for granted, it begins to slip. Even small victories need maintenance, because what isn't strengthened is eventually lost. I once watched a man build a successful business through pure consistency. Small steps, every day. Then he grew comfortable, stopped checking the details, trusted that momentum would carry him. Within 2 years, what took him 10 to build had begun to crumble. Not from failure, but from neglect. That's the danger. Neglect doesn't make noise. It doesn't announce itself. It hides under good intentions. It whispers, you've earned a break. And of course you have, but progress doesn't rest just because you do. So the defense is awareness, the discipline of checking, maintaining, reviewing. Don't let small cracks become big breaks. If the goal is worth having, it's worth guarding. When you see something slipping, your energy, your focus, your results, don't excuse it. Fix it fast. A stitch in time doesn't just save 9. It saves momentum, confidence, and time itself. Think of progress as a flame. You don't need to rebuild the fire every day, but you must feed it. Miss a day and the embers cool. Miss a few more and the flame dies. That's the law of maintenance. And once you understand it, you never let neglect steal from you again. Progress isn't about how much you can do. It's about how long you can keep doing what matters. The small, steady disciplines that prevent decline are the true secret to growth. The third enemy of success, doubt. Doubt is the quiet thief of destiny. It doesn't stop you with force. It stops you with hesitation. It whispers just enough uncertainty to delay your action. And delay, over time, destroys progress. Everyone begins with a measure of belief. Then comes the moment of testing, the gap between effort and evidence. That's where doubt loves to live. When the results take longer than expected, when the applause fades, when the payoff seems distant, that's when doubt begins its work. It says, maybe it won't work for you. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe this dream was too big. And if you listen long enough, belief starts to shrink. Action slows. Confidence cracks. Soon, the dream you once pursued with energy is wrapped in hesitation. Not because you lost ability, but because you lost belief. Doubt is not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that something important is at stake. Every great endeavor brings resistance, but progress belongs to those who act while uncertain. Those who move even when they can't yet prove. Faith is not arrogance, it's preparation. It's the decision to keep building when the evidence hasn't yet caught up. A farmer plants seeds without seeing the harvest. That's faith. A builder lays foundations long before the house stands. That's faith. Progress is no different. People often say, I'll believe it when I see it. But that's the language of spectators. Builders say, I'll see it because I believe it. The belief comes first, the proof follows. The mind must travel ahead of the body, or the body will never move. Doubt poisons potential. It takes opportunity and turns it into analysis. It replaces movement with mental spinning. And while you're thinking about what could go wrong, someone else is testing what could go right. The cure for doubt isn't perfect knowledge. It's disciplined action. Do what you can with what you know, and let results become your teacher. The act of doing weakens the grip of doubt, because every small win adds proof that belief was not misplaced. When a person gives in to doubt, progress stops, not because the dream was impossible, but because the dreamers stop pushing. But when belief holds firm, even in uncertainty, momentum carries them through. Faith turns effort into evidence. Remember, progress doesn't wait for perfect confidence. You will never feel completely ready. The conditions will never be flawless. Doubt will always offer you an exit. But if you can move through that feeling, act in spite of it, you begin to build strength no doubt can undo. Think of belief as armor. Each disciplined action adds another layer. And soon, the same voice that once said, "You can't," starts to quiet. Because doubt only lives where results are absent. Every small success silences it a little more. So don't fight doubt with emotion. Fight it with proof. Fight it by showing up, by staying in motion, by collecting your own evidence that persistence works. That's how belief becomes unshakable. Not through speeches or motivation, but through consistent experience. Progress grows in that soil. The soil of movement while uncertain. The soil of trying while afraid. The soil of belief before evidence. That's where the future is planted. And here is the fourth enemy of success: distraction. It steals greatness. It doesn't destroy through failure. It destroys through fragmentation. It divides focus into so many small pieces that nothing of depth can grow. The world today is built for interruption. Every sound, every screen, every notification is a tug on attention, and every tug has a cost. Progress requires concentration, but distraction scatters the mind until energy leaks away. You can't build a strong future with a divided focus. Most people aren't losing because they lack ability. They're losing because they can't stay with one thing long enough. They start something with fire, then shift, then scroll, then check, then pause. And by the end of the day, the power of their intention has been diluted into noise. Distraction is subtle. It disguises itself as productivity. It says, just one more message, just one quick update, just a few minutes. But those minutes, multiplied by days, turn into stolen years. The enemy isn't always laziness. It's dispersion. A mind pulled in 10 directions cannot master one. Progress requires the courage to say no to noise, to trends, to invitations that don't serve the mission. Every yes must have a reason. Every minute must have a purpose. If you want to measure a person's potential, look at what captures their attention. Because attention is the currency of achievement. Wherever it flows, results follow. There's a discipline to focus. It's not about force. It's about clarity. Knowing what matters most and protecting it as if your future depends on it. Because it does. Ask yourself what distractions have been costing. The half-read books. The unfinished plans. The projects that start strong and fade away. Each one is a reminder that the battle for focus is never over. The greatest performers in any field share one trait: single-minded pursuit. While others chase variety, they chase mastery. They learn to say no, not because they're rude, but because they understand the value of attention. Focus doesn't come from wishing, it comes from environment. Design your space, your time, your habits so distraction has nowhere to live. Create boundaries for your attention. And soon you'll find that progress accelerates, not because you're doing more, but because you're doing what matters most. Every time you pick up the phone instead of the pen, every time you open a screen instead of a book, ask a simple question. Does this serve the mission? If it doesn't, it's not neutral. It's negative. You don't conquer distraction by removing every noise from the world. You conquer it by training the mind to stay on course. Focus is a muscle. It strengthens with repetition and weakens with neglect. Progress demands concentration. It grows where energy is directed and dies where attention is divided. So guard your focus like treasure, because it is. Say no more often. Let silence become a strategy. Let depth replace speed. The shallow always looks busy, but it never breaks ground. Depth is what builds. Focus is what finishes. Distraction is cheap. Focus is expensive, but only one of them pays. The final enemy of success is comfort. You see, comfort is the most seductive of all the enemies. It feels harmless, even deserved. It tells you you've earned the right to relax, to slow down, to take it easy. And before long, that comfort becomes a cage, soft on the inside, unbreakable on the outside. Comfort convinces you that good enough is success. It whispers that growth can wait, that ambition can rest. But progress never lives where comfort rules. Because comfort and challenge cannot coexist for long. One always pushes the other out. Every life reaches that quiet turning point where comfort begins to sound reasonable. The climb feels steep, the goal feels distant, and comfort offers a shortcut. Stay here. It's safe, and that's the danger. It is safe. Safe from failure, safe from criticism, safe from discomfort. But it's also safe from growth. The soil of progress is struggle. Every form of advancement, physical, mental, financial, spiritual, requires some friction. Muscles only grow through resistance. Skills only sharpen through use. Character only strengthens through challenge. The comfortable person begins to drift. They lose their edge, their hunger, their urgency. They may still look busy, but the fire is gone. They've traded pursuit for preservation, and preservation has never produced progress. Comfort's greatest weapon is subtlety. It doesn't demand surrender. It suggests rest. It says you've done enough for now. And maybe you have, for the day. But comfort never knows when to stop. What begins as rest becomes routine. What begins as balance becomes complacency. There's nothing wrong with enjoying the fruits of effort. Rest is essential. Renewal is wise. But rest must serve the mission, not replace it. The purpose of recovery is to return stronger, not softer. If you ever find yourself saying, "I'm fine where I am," be careful. Fine is the first symptom of decline. The moment satisfaction becomes stillness, growth begins to die. Progress depends on tension, the stretch between where you are and where you could be. The people who achieve the most are rarely the most comfortable. They live in that productive discomfort, the place where learning still burns, where goals still challenge, where improvement still calls. They've learned that comfort feels good now, but costs later, while growth costs now, but pays forever. Ask yourself where comfort has been robbing. Maybe it's the morning routine that slipped. Maybe it's the ambition that dulled. Maybe it's the challenge you've postponed because things are good enough. Every comfort zone has a hidden price tag, and it's always potential left unfulfilled. Progress is pressure managed well. It's learning to stay calm under strain, not escaping it. It's choosing growth over ease, purpose over peace of mind. You don't need to live in chaos to grow. You just need to keep leaning forward, 1 inch past easy. That's where life expands. The edge of comfort is the entrance to progress. So when comfort calls, thank it for the rest. But don't unpack there. Rest if you must, but rise again. Because comfort is temporary pleasure, and progress is lasting pride. The only way to defeat the enemies of progress is by design. Awareness, discipline, and structure. These are your defenses. Progress doesn't happen by luck or momentum. It's engineered. Awareness is the first line of defense. You can't fix what you don't see. The moment you identify an enemy, excuse neglect, doubt, distraction, or comfort, you weaken it. Because these enemies thrive in the dark. Once you name them, they lose power. Then comes discipline. Awareness tells you what's wrong. Discipline fixes it. Discipline is doing what should be done, whether you feel like it or not. It's the daily vote for progress over drift. The disciplined person may not always feel motivated, but they act anyway. And action over time creates belief, momentum, and results. Discipline must become system, because willpower alone is fragile. Build routines that make success automatic and neglect difficult. Create an environment that rewards effort and punishes drift. If you want to wake up early, make it easy to start. If you want to stay focused, remove what competes for attention. Systems do what motivation can't. Keep you consistent when enthusiasm fades. Progress is not the product of bursts. It's the result of design. Just as a builder follows a blueprint, progress follows structure. Decide what to measure and measure it often. Whatever you track improves, because attention feeds growth. The enemies of progress are patient. They wait for openings. So you must stay proactive. Each morning is a reset, a new vote for progress. Review your goals. Reaffirm your mission. Ask what matters most today, and do that first. Because drift begins the moment you forget what matters. Guard your inputs. The mind is a garden. Whatever you plant will grow. Fill it with excellence, and excellence becomes habit. Fill it with noise, and noise becomes norm. Awareness filters what enters, and discipline determines what stays. Surround yourself with accountability. Alone, drift is easy. With the right people, discipline becomes contagious. Choose those who challenge you, not those who comfort you. Comfort is cheap. Correction is valuable. Remember, progress is not perfection. It's motion. It's resistance met and overcome. The goal is not to eliminate the struggle, but to outgrow it. You don't remove the enemies once and for all. You learn to outthink them, outwork them, outlast them. Each victory builds defense. Every time you replace excuse with action, neglect with attention, doubt with faith, distraction with focus, and comfort with challenge, you strengthen your system. What was once effort becomes instinct. What was once struggle becomes standard. So build your defense with intention. Wake up aware. Work with structure. End each day with review. Small corrections, done daily, prevent major repairs later. Progress is not accidental. It is protected. And when it's protected long enough, it becomes inevitable. That's the beauty of it. Once you build the defense, the enemies lose their grip. Excuses no longer convince you. Neglect feels unnatural. Doubt has no room. Distraction becomes noise in the distance. Comfort becomes reward, not refuge. At that point, progress is no longer fragile. It's fortified. And the war within becomes a victory.